Well, here we go again. Another live Friday edition of the Green Rush. Hi, everybody. I'm Jimmy Young from Pro Cannabis Media, and I'm always joined by
David Rabinovitz.
who has his microphone working today. We are so excited about that. Yes. Awesome.
Actually,
awesome.
Jimmy, I don't.
And that's right. Well, these things happen.
We're going without the fancy microphone. Right.
Fair enough. Whatever it is, as long as we can hear those dulcet tones, David, I'm happy. And we're also very, very happy to welcome in an old friend, someone who's been in his bear cave, I think, for the last 18 months or so. He's Marc Shepard from the New England Cannabis Convention. Marc, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Jimmy. Great to be here.
And I immediately thought of you when I got your newsletter and saw that next week in Portland, Maine, my old stomping grounds, you guys are running a grow show of sorts, which I think is the first public cannabis event in how long, Marc?
I mean, our last live show was October of 2019. We did do a very, very small event last Halloween, but it was incredibly limited and it was outdoors in 30-degree weather. So probably nobody knew about it, but yeah, so 18 months, easy.
Yeah. Was that the day that it snowed? Was that the Halloween snowstorm?
It didn't snow, but it could have because it was 30.
All right. How did you survive? That's the most important thing, I guess. First of all, you're healthy. You look good. How did you survive the last 18 months? How challenging has this been for you?
I mean, looking back, and it's almost a joke. It just literally couldn't have been worse. And you know, a lot of people don't really understand the model of doing shows like this. They think you kind of come in, you do the show, you clean up and leave. But you know, in reality, we work on that New England Cannabis show for 11 months. As soon as it's done, you start the next one. So to have it shut down 2 weeks prior to it happening, you know, 10.5 months worth of work, all the expenses paid, everything done. I don't even want to think about the fact that we spent $80,000 in advertising the 2 weeks prior to that. And, you know, we had our Chicago show the month after. So I was sitting there middle of March and I just said, well, 90% of our operating revenue for 2021 is gone. Let's regroup. And you remember back then, nobody knew how long it was going to take. So you spend months rescheduling. We're going to do it 3 months from now, 6 months from now. Oh, wait, there's 500 exhibitors on the phone saying, can I have my money back? I don't have your money. I spent it. You know, so it was not fun for about 5 or 6 months. It was horrific.
Putting out one fire after another, right?
Yeah, it just, you know, everybody just figured you just pushed it down the road and, you know, and then everybody just kept rescheduling shows and then you had to reorganize it, change everything every couple of months to the new dates. And then you were like, this isn't going to happen. This isn't going to happen. Then, you know, you start getting into the solutions and then you realize that you are seen as a cannabis business as you go for federal aid and all these programs. And, you know, you're not going to get a lot of them because they consider you a cannabis business. So, you know, it was tough. It was tough sledding.
Well, we're certainly glad that you're back and operational, and more importantly, have an event next week that is open to the public, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Walk us through who's going to be there, how it's going to work. It's got a theme to it too, doesn't it?
Yeah. These are sort of, you know, like more of a homegrown theme. So, you know, you're gonna see a lot of people that are experts on genetics and home growing, being able to give you kind of the where to and how for growing locally in this market. You're not seeing all those major players from outside with the extraction equipment and the technology and the security and stuff. This is just kind of, it's really a kind of show that could have happened underground before legality and probably did, you know, just a sharing of knowledge and products amongst the people who are actually growing locally.
Gotcha. David, you got something for Marc?
Well, so Marc, you've really expanded, right? You've got shows in Boston, New Jersey, and a whole bunch of other venues. Can you walk us through some of the venues you've got coming up?
Sure. I mean, in the last 18 months, you've had some major changes in the landscape, and we initially launched in New England and had envisioned doing, you know, locally focus shows in each state in New England. We're still doing Maine, we're still doing New Hampshire, we're still doing Massachusetts, but it just didn't seem to make sense to limit to that. So we launched our show in New Jersey in 2019. So we'll be back there in 2021. Chicago, Illinois had been scheduled for April, so that's on the slate. And since COVID hit, both Virginia and New York have both legalized. We're right here. So we've put down for those as well. So we're going to do 4 shows in the second half of this year, and then next year between 6 to 8, with half of them outside of New England.
And how about Oklahoma? You've got one, right?
We do. Oh, I already forgot Oklahoma because we had canceled that one too. Yeah, Oklahoma as well.
Pick a state,
Great.
any state, Mark. I mean, at this point, it was a tough one.
So what's the big difference between the NECANN conventions and the Beanstalk BeanCon events?
I would say when you're doing something like NECANN, that draws an incredibly wide net. You have an entire component of that that's just focused and dedicated to medical marijuana education and access. Advocacy is a big piece of that, but then also people from anywhere around the country that want to be in this industry are coming to showcase their business because they know all the players in New England are coming. This one, again, we've got maybe 50 or 60 vendors, probably 35 or 40 of those are specifically and exclusively focused on just genetics of growing. So unless you're interested in growing cannabis in New England, I'd actually tell you not to bother to come because there's really nothing here for you. It's a very focused show from that standpoint.
Got it.
I'm going out on a limb though. The growers and the growing community are certainly the most colorful part of the vertical, if you will. I met some really interesting growers over the years. And in fact, I had a conversation with someone from the king of the growing area, Humboldt County, this week in California. And that alone is a fascinating story out there. What is it about the grow that you think it makes it so appealing to people? Is it the fact that, hey, I can grow this and either sell it or I can grow it and not have to buy it? Is that more what motivates these growers, or is it just a hobby, people who like to do gardening?
No, I think there's definitely, there's maybe a little bit of outlaw appeal to it. Traditionally, you've got these people, you say the personalities, it does take a certain personality to stand up and saying, yeah, I'm in violation of federal law. Screw you, I don't care. And just do it openly for decades. And, I've seen a lot of younger people that, the same kind of person that's into craft beer, but they're like, I can't, yes, you can brew beer at home, but can you really create a high-end craft beer in your bathtub? You really can't. But with cannabis, there's nothing really stopping you from learning, educating yourself and getting through it and creating a high-level world-class product to smoke. And yeah, not paying $400 an ounce for it, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I guess the next question I have, what about the logistics of next week's show? Obviously, you'd hope to go outside, but you've moved it to an inside venue, which means I'm guessing everybody's got masks on, correct?
Yeah, well, we actually, had wanted it to be indoors. I hate outdoor events because I hate weather. Wind can ruin an event, never mind the rain, but
right.
Just the reality in Maine, the capacity for that facility, and I won't go down the rabbit hole, but that facility, which is 50,000 square feet and has 70-foot ceilings and ceiling ventilation, was just classified as a gym by the state of Maine, which meant their capacity was 50 people. It's the size of 20 football fields, but you could have 50 people in there. So we'll have it outdoors. Then about 2 or 3 weeks ago, they changed the capacity. 1,000 people can be in there. Now, we're not going to push that. We're not going to put 1,000 people in there. We're going to limit the booths to about 50, and we're going to try to maintain less than 500 people in there at all times. And, if anyone's ever been in there, it sounds funny, but we'll have 50 booths and 500 people in there. That place will look empty. And, we're going to be very cognizant of that. We want to do this event incredibly safe. The worst thing that could happen would be for this to be seen as something that caused problems for the state of Maine and COVID. So we're going to, limit ticket sales well below what the max we could sell.
Gotcha. And I'm guessing you're going to have somebody with a clicker counting the people in the building and all that, right? Just to,
Well, we probably won't even have to, because I'm not kidding. There won't be 500 people in there. We'll stop selling tickets. Oh, I forgot to mention, we're actually splitting the day in half. So you can get a morning session ticket or an afternoon session ticket. So we're not going to even sell 1,000 tickets, but at any given time, only 500 people could possibly be there. People don't come and stay the whole time anyway.
and are you concerned about people just showing up because it's a cannabis event?
They can show up, they just can't come in.
Gotcha.
It's ticketed.
Right. I was going to say, do you have to buy the tickets in advance?
You can buy the tickets at the door. My guess is they're going to sell out. So, I mean, do we plan on selling at the door? Sure. But I'm guessing within the next few days, we'll probably sell out.
Gotcha.
Oh, that's
Gotcha.
great.
I did see something in June that's taking place in Orange, Massachusetts. Is that accurate?
Yes.
What's going on and where and how? I think I know why, but explain Orange, Massachusetts, why that venue and how did that event come about?
Sure. Well, the name of the venue, it's Green Karma Farms. And actually the owners there bought that property twofold. One, they're hemp farmers and they're planting a massive hemp crop there. And then they also want to convert it into, sort of like an event facility. I would imagine mostly weddings and that type of thing. It's beautiful for photography. And they had reached out to us and said, if you're planning on doing any outdoor events, check it out. And when I get up there, I said, it's perfect because again, if we're going to limit it to 50 to 100 booths, we can separate them so far. There's so much space that, we really don't have to worry about, crowd control. You limit the tickets and now you're really talking about being able to put booths 10, 20 feet apart. So it's really perfect. And then to have it with a backdrop of a growing hemp farm in the background, I think is just, it's great for everybody.
Are you finding that it's the growing community that is the most vibrant in this seed to sale vertical that's out there, as opposed to maybe the extraction group or the where is the grow? Everybody's interested in growing. That's what I guess I'm going.
Yeah, and most businesses, ancillary businesses in the industry, they relate to the grow in some way. Like you say, yes, there's extraction, yes, there's security, there's technology. Those are all important verticals, but you can list 10 major verticals related to growing, be it soil aids, be it hydration, be it lighting, be it soil itself. There's so many different verticals to it. And then there's a massive amount of consulting and expertise. And then, of course, the genetics themselves, the clones, the seeds. It's the most interesting, I think.
I didn't even know that there was a international market for seeds and it's what is considered to be a gray area because they sell seeds online, correct?
Sure.
It's just,
and I mean, they've been doing it for decades.
Decades, right?
I mean, you could buy them out of not online, but you could send away a check and a coupon out of High Times magazine in the 70s and buy seeds from Amsterdam.
Right.
Maybe getting that exactly wrong, but you could definitely buy seeds back in the day.
Back in the day, I get it. Hey, Mark, you've seen the growth, literally and figuratively, of the Massachusetts cannabis industry from the beginnings of the medical program in 2013 to where we are now, to the opening of the adult use in 2018. Now you've got, David's really good at this. David, how many dispensaries in Massachusetts?
123, I believe.
And I'm not going to doubt him, by the way. What's
But
that?
I track it, and I actually hire somebody who goes through and because I got tired of doing this stuff, who scrubs the once a month they scrub the Twitter feed from the CCC so I can put it into a model. I'm fascinated with the average sales per store.
He loves numbers, Mark. He loves numbers. But my question, I guess, is where is, California, Colorado, they're more mature markets, even though they too have their own issues inside their community. Is there more of a cooperative or a competitive community in Massachusetts cannabis, in whether that's growers or dispensary owners?
I think, unfortunately, the amount of regulation and the fact that, when you get up to the governor and to a lot of the legislature, that they're against it. You can see how slow everything is rolled out. So it causes competition where there might have been cooperation. It's all, like it's the Donner Party. It's all well and good. We're all cooperating as long as there's food. Well, the food's gone. So we got to eat somebody, and it's hard to be cooperative when you're starving in your 18th month of paying a lease and no cash flow. So I think the mass community, I think there is a good spirit of cooperation to it, but it's very difficult for people to help their competition survive while they're starving. And when you look at 120 dispensaries, 10 years ago I would have thought that was impossible. But when it was legalized in 2016, I would have thought we'd have 2,000 by now. I mean, it's 5 years. It's repulsively slow.
Right. But it's here, and it is literally moving at a snail's pace, but it is here. And of course, I had an opportunity to talk with Tommy Chong. I love to drop names this week. And he goes, I was incarcerated for selling bongs, and now I can go buy a bong and the stuff to put in the bong, and it's a completely different era, completely different world out there. Marc, how do people find out about not just the event next Saturday, but other events that NECANN's involved with? Give yourself a plug.
Oh, sure. I mean, just NECANN.com, NECANN.com, the whole schedule and all the information is right on the homepage. Pick your city, pick your event, and come see us.
There you go. Not to be confused with my old stomping ground at NECN. Okay, that's NECANN, right? Marc Shepard, I'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us again, and I look forward to getting back out into the community, as it were.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. Great to see you, and see you in Maine.
You got it. All right, that's Marc Shepard from NECANN. The rest of this program is we are going to actually be dedicating